Peace sells. Who's buying? Drinks sell, but who's buying?
I'll buy the drinks, but not the peace. I want the fucking war, baby.
Or you might buy a piece.
Yeah, I might buy a piece, man. Pussy is good.
Regardless of whether you marry it, date it, or just flat out buy it, you buy it one way or the other.
That's right. So why not just buy it? You're paying for her to go away. That's what you're paying for.
Exactly. Exactly. So there you go. It's Joel MacGyver.
Yes.
Author extraordinaire. I like that guy. I mean, we didn't bandy words with him tonight, but nevertheless, Joel, a good dude. Joel
is a great dude, man. And I'm very anxious to read the Ellefson book. And as I said in the interview, love the Glenn Hughes book. Maybe the best fucking rock book that's ever been written. Just solid.
Sure. Well, Joel, how long have we known Joel? About 5 years at least?
Yeah, I mean, it all the way back to To Live Is to Die, the Cliff Burton Metallica book.
Sure. So that was like 2007, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's been a while now.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So again, I don't like to shed light too much on the accomplishments. Bask in the glory of modest achievement. But I do enjoy the fact that after all these years, you and I have become acquainted with some very cool people in the business, and Joel being one of them. And I admire a guy who has that kind of talent, who can bang out these books the way that he does.
And dude, I looked on his Wikipedia page, before we did the interview. He's written 22 books.
That's crazy.
22.
I mean, I know you labored over just one book over the past year.
Yeah, I wrote one book in a year. It took me a full year to write one book, 427 pages.
Can you imagine banging out 22 books, and how long? What's the time?
2000.
Since 2000?
Yeah.
13, 22. That's 2 books a year.
And you've seen Joel's books. They're not thin. They're fucking Bible type books.
Exactly. So I admire people who have that ability to knock things out like that. I mean, I admire you because, all the years that you did the Music's Bottom Line, and the fact that you can still bang out those CD reviews and things like that for Pitch Riff and whatever. That is a talent. That is a gift. I mean, obviously I tried my hand at doing that, and I can do it, but it's a labor for me. It's not like something I can just sit there and go da 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 da, just bang it all out. It's just like I have to sit there and think, and I
don't think about it.
I do, and I'm very introspective with that kind of stuff. And there are people like yourself or Joel or whatever, that just becomes a very natural impulse for them to where they can knock that stuff out in no time at all.
Well, the one thing I'm finding out with my book is that, I wrote the book fast. I mean, literally, I just sit down, I write, and I'll write 40 pages in 2 hours. I mean, it's not hard for me. But man, oh man, this editing bullshit that I'm doing now with the fucking publisher, oh my God, dude. I'm ready to load up my gun and drive to New York and shoot somebody. It's like every day I get something back. This is a little too introspective. You need to widen the spectrum for the average listener. It's like, oh, Jesus, fuck off. It's like, God damn, man.
Right. Well, where are you in this process?
With the book?
Yeah.
I've submitted all 19 chapters of the book, and they're slowly coming back to me with lots and lots and lots of red ink and lots of legalese that the lawyers have said, you can't say this, you can't say that, you need to flesh this out, this doesn't explain things enough. So I am about 8 chapters into editing at this point, and I'm done complete. I've actually gotten approval all the way through start to finish of 3 chapters so far.
3 out of 19, huh?
Out of 19.
Wow.
For a book that was supposed to come out in November, not going to happen. But it's probably going to come out first quarter of the new year,
1st of June of 2014.
Yeah, 2018. It'll be right there. But no, it's it'll be out first quarter of the new year, and I am working very hard on it, and actually obligated to another project with Billy Morris. I'm going to write his book with him. We're actually going to start doing the interview process of that, much like Joel was talking about. We're going to start the interview process of that next week. We're going to do our first 4 hours of interviews and see where that goes. So yeah, I'm sort of a mini Joel MacGyver, where he writes about good artists, I write about Billy.
Well, you gotta start somewhere, dude.
Well, you know what? Look, the first time I guess this is the second book I've written, but this is the first one that I've really tried to market, and I ended up with the biggest publisher in the entire world, so I can't really complain. I wrote a book about Oh Poor Me. I got divorced, and I got Simon & Schuster to fucking rip me off a check.
Right.
So I'm not complaining. I just... It's all learning curve, and it's unique to do a learning curve with the biggest company in the world in any business.
Sure.
Because they expect more than I would imagine. If I did it with bullshit publishing, they would probably just take what I wrote and push it. But obviously these guys, they deal with a lot bigger nonsense than me. So it's definitely a learning curve, and I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to be a very good book when it's done.
Well, okay. It'll be right up there with, Stephen Piercy or Steven Tyler, Walk This Way.
No, it's going to be right there with Tony Robbins, me, Mr. Self-Help Guy.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, dude, is your in-studio guest with you?
My in-studio guest has arrived, and he brought alcohol, so I like that.
All right. Well, why don't you introduce the folks to your guest?
I will. This is I only met this guy maybe what Bill, 6 months ago or so.
Yeah, about 6 months ago.
Yeah, but this is we'll just introduce him as Chef Bill.
That's what I go by.
Chef Bill is the owner of a club here in the local area, in your old stomping ground, in the WSTB Streetsboro area. Club called the Z-Plex.
Okay.
And at the Z-Plex, it is by far, in my eyes, the biggest room. It's not the biggest room ever, but it's between Akron and Cleveland. It is by far the biggest room, has the best sound in it, has great food, has great booze, and I've seen a few shows there. I've gone out and hung out there a few times, and it's just a fun place to kind of hang. And then Bill and I have been talking about possibly doing some stuff with, since you and me both are tied in with a lot of the 80s bands. Bill is a big 80s guy, and we're talking about bringing some bands in and whatnot. So I bring to the show Chef Bill. So welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you guys doing out there? Nice to meet everybody. What's going on?
Well, Chef Bill, this is your first foray into the Classic Metal Show. Were you aware of the Classic Metal Show prior to meeting Chris?
No, I wasn't, to tell you the truth.
Well, that's all I want from you, Bill, is truth. I want truth.
Always.
But I'm not offended, but the Classic Metal Show started in Streetsboro, or as people affectionately refer to it as Streets Tucky, almost 18 years ago.
Yeah. I'm in the old bowling alley. You probably hung out the old bowling alley.
It's out by Giannino's Pizza.
Yes, it is, by Giannino's. Back in the corner. Used to be Mustang Sally's, now it's the Z-Plex.
Sure. Well, why the Z-Plex? Where does that come from?
Well, I started with, I bought a Scorchers about 3 years ago, and I started with the sports bar theme, and my grilling bar is called Strings with a Z and Wings with a Z. And I started to hear people saying, hey, look, that's cute. It's nice, little peekaboo chef's cute. We dig it, Bill. But I had the NAAFS fighting guys there. They're like right below UFC, and they're like, hey, Bill, we can't get anybody good on the card because nobody wants to fight at Strings and Wings.
Right.
So they're like, you need a label. You're not giving any girth or anything. You're not doing yourself justice in the big room. So, we put a thing because we had Z's on everything. And if you looked at my menu, everything ends with Z's instead of S's. And so we came up with the Z-Plex. So Z Complex, Z-Plex.
Well, that's very 80s because a lot of bands ended their names with double X's,
right?
Like Crazy Licks, and everything was just X's,
right?
Double X's. So we've gravitated toward the Z's now.
That's right.
Yeah, you'll never. If you're ever in my place, anytime you see a Z now, you'll think of Strings and Wings and the Z-Plex because everything's Z's everywhere. Yeah.
Well, Bill, Streetsboro isn't exactly the happening metropolis, and I'm always curious because I'm a business guy myself. Chris is a business guy. We do what we can to get by in our lives, and I gotta ask you because only last week I attended a show out at a go-kart track, an indoor go-kart track that was converted into a concert hall. It was in basically a steel pole building, and this business guy, he's a big 80s fan. He's bringing in Dokken and Great White and Stryper and all these bands out into the middle of basically nowhere. And I don't know that he's making his money back on this kind of entertainment. I appreciate the fact that he's doing it, and God bless him for doing that. But, in my opinion, and I've been in the business for 25 years. I worked a club way back in the 80s out in the LA area. And the idea there is to actually at least make some money back on your entertainment. Do you see this as a viable thing for you to open up a big club basically outside of the outskirts of a metropolis and actually get a draw enough to where you make your investment back?
Well, that's what Chris and I have been sitting here. We've been chewing the fat on that stuff over some apple pie. So, it's it's definitely a little bit of a long haul. The only thing good I got to say about Streetsboro is, it's the little big city. It's coming into its own. It's strategically placed between Youngstown, between Cleveland, between Akron. And if I can pull, when we're saying 80s, I've done the Great Whites. I've done a couple of those 80s bands. I think if I stepped it up a little bit and moved into Dokken, and we were talking about even getting some shows like maybe pull In This Moment there, or a Five Finger Death Punch or somebody like that to really put me on the map. I mean, even getting a Mushroom Head there, I honestly think it'd be very profitable. The good thing is I got good food. The food brings in the people. The grill and bar pays my rent, and then the concert hall, well, hopefully where I can make a few bucks on.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the efforts by a guy like yourself who will put your money where your mouth is, per se, and follow the passion that you have. And Chris and I have been doing the Classic Metal Show for a long time, and over the last 18 years, I've sunk a lot of personal money into doing the Classic Metal Show and maintaining a 24/7 station. And, I know what it takes to do it.
Sure.
And, not on the scale you do it, but the concept is still the same because of the passion and the enjoyment in doing that kind of stuff. But I would like to see a guy like yourself who has that drive and ambition to be successful. But, what I find out, and don't get me wrong in what I'm trying to say here, I'm not trying to dampen any, ambition
You're
here.
a downer, man.
What are you doing to me right now? Are you serious? Come on.
I'm basically asking the question, when you're out away from everything, and I know you just explained that you're within a half hour to 40-minute drive of Cleveland, Akron, and Youngstown. Promotion is the biggest thing, because so many people that I've met over the years, it's like, man, I didn't even know that band was still around, or man, I didn't know that they were playing so close. And what I find, and I know Chris can vouch for this, that so many promoters will bring a band in and they think that the band name alone will make the draw. But if you don't promote it properly, nobody's going to know it even exists. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I ran into that in a couple shows I did over the summer, and I'm not going to mention the band's names and stuff because I don't want to be a damper on it. But yeah, I ran into that. It was, they were promoting on the wrong stations, doing the wrong type of promotions, and thank goodness I didn't bring them in. It was somebody else that brought them in. So it didn't hurt me too bad, but we all took a little hit on the chin. So absolutely key is promotion. In fact, that's why I'm here hanging out with you guys today, coming over here and hanging out with Chris and yourself, so I can get some promotions in and talk about stuff. And, hey, I want to make a go at this. I come from North Hollywood, and I grew up in the Hollywood Palladium days and the US festivals and all that stuff. I've been around music my whole life. I'm not quite as educated as you guys in rock and roll. Chris is over here schooling me, man. So I'm like, hey, don't ask me any hard questions, brother. All right, just be cool. All right. So.
I'm going to be honest with you there, Bill. I appreciate the fact that Chris brought you down and you enjoy these kind of things, and you're willing to put up or shut up, which is what you've done. And Chris, you and Chris have described to me personally that your Z-Plex is an old bowling alley. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you acquired the property and what you did to transform it into a concert venue?
All right. Well, when I first took over it was a Mustang Sally's. Okay. It was an old country. They cleaned out the bowling alley, and they actually, stripped all the bowling lanes and shipped them to China, to tell you the truth. And then it was a big warehouse when I took it over, and it just needed warmth. Okay, so I put in some dividing walls, upgraded the sound system, put in some inside decks, moved the sound booth from the back of the room to the middle of the room into the sweet spot.
Right, you got that big lighting system.
Yeah, we have I got some great lighting tech. I got great sound people. We put in mid-range speakers, so now instead of having to push the front speakers so hard, so you get that slap back because it was an old bowling alley, you get that slap back off that cement walls, put in a midline range of speakers on a half-second seamless delay, and now the whole room fills with sound. And really cleaned it up nice. And then put in things like the deck and the carpet, start sucking up some of the bass and everything. And tell you what, with that and the food and the dividing walls and the lighting, it just really has come together as a real nice concert club. I get a ton of compliments, people saying, I'm definitely one of the premier places in Ohio. So now it's just a matter of paying my dues and getting it out there.
And I'll make this claim, Neeley, since he's not gonna give the claim, but I'll give the claim. As somebody that goes to a lot of venues, the one thing that the Z-Plex has that pretty much every other, certainly the Cleveland locations, none of them have, and outside of maybe Rhodes Arena down in Akron, none of the Akron places have either, is the fact that, and I guess you'd have to see it to picture it, but you've got the stage on one end, and it kind of fades out. It pushes outward, but you've got seating on the side, on both sides of it. You've got seating in the back. So unlike any other of these venues, and Neeley, you know this from House of Blues. You go to House of Blues, you're standing for 5 hours on concrete. You go to Bill's place, you can be in the room still watching, let's face it, we all go, nobody wants to watch the opening bands. You want to sit down and have a beer or two or three and some wings or whatever. Well, you can do that in his club and still watch the opening bands or the main bands or whatever. I'm a lazy fucking concert guy. I'll be the first one to admit it. I do not want to stand for 6 hours on concrete. I like to come in, sit down, watch a lot of it, and then fight my way to the front when the good band comes on. And that is one of the reasons that I have found myself at the Z-Plex 3, 4, 5 times now over the summer for different shows, man. It's a very cool room, and it's a different room than pretty much anywhere else around here.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris, man, because we definitely hold, we can sit comfortably in the Z-Plex. I can seat 500 people and still get another 400 on the dance floor.
Sure.
And that's without me pulling tables and chairs. I really appreciate you noticing that. I got a little VIP couch section. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Wait, next time I'll just hang out there.
Right. Now I'm a player.
Now we're going VIP couches.
Right.
Man. All right. We'll get a waitress down there to serve us. And
right.
Shit. Yeah, and we got a lower bar down in the Z-Plex. We got the main bar up in the Strings of Wings grill area. So, yeah, it's definitely unique. I hear that a lot, so I appreciate you noticing.
Reseda Country Club, I hope it's not Lima.
No, it's not a dump like Lima. No.
Nice. Well, Bill, I'm getting back to more of a business mode. What kind of due diligence did you do to make this, to say to yourself, you know what, this is worth the risk of, investing this kind of money in developing a concert club?
I guess my due diligence was I was up the street in a smaller location, about 7,000 square feet. And I made that very successful. And how I made that successful was with music, okay? And I just basically grew out of it. I mean, I couldn't put any more people in there. I needed a bigger spot. This one came too. I took every dime I had that I made from the first place, and I dumped into this, and I just made it happen. And, I went from holding 285 people to holding 1,256 people. And, like I said, it was it was definitely a good move. Paid a little bit of price over the summer, but things going to happen. It's going to come together. And so my diligence is what I did up the street for the first year and a half, and I was very successful at it. Excellent. So I moved it down the street, and I just need to get a few bigger rocks.
Hey, I applaud you, dude. Really, I'm certainly not trying to be negative in this in any way. I'm just curious.
You sound like it.
I am. I do sound negative. I realize that, but I just like to get the answer, and this guy has all the right answers. So what can I tell you?
Well, here, Neeley, I'll put the challenge out to you, because Bill and I were talking before, during the Joel interview, and I want to put this into absolute perspective. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but odds are good that between you and I, we could probably get a docket in there, don't you think?
I think so, yes.
I would think that's probably
I could make the phone call right now and make that happen for you, Bill.
Okay, well, I'm waiting. Go ahead. I don't hear the phone dialing, but
no, we could do that.
Believe me.
I'm going to go pour me an apple pie. You want to get on that?
Let me pull my phone up.
I've been emailing back and forth with Dawn today 2 or 3 times, as a matter of fact. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, no, I'm game for that.
There's the name.
All right. Yeah, if we can, I'll tell you what. Things like that is what would really kick it in there. And the more people I get in there, I'll tell you what, once you're there and you try my food, and I mean, I don't have bar food. I mean, you can get a ribeye steak, you can get a pasta, you can get pizza, you can get wings. There's a little something for everybody. You can't have 1,000, 1,200 people in there and not feed them.
Right.
That's just huge. So, I'm trying to go more of a, dinner and concert club experience, but, I'm all about rock and roll. I got to mix it up a little bit on the genres, I think, because of the area I'm at.
Sure.
But I'm a rock and roll guy, so let's make that happen.
Well, you're like Jesus with the loaves and the fishes, You're just, you're just distributing among the crowd and, making sure everybody has something to eat and all that good stuff.
Well, the more they eat, the more they drink, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, when it's 90 degrees, Bill turns the heat on, so then they're really drinking.
Yeah.
And then he serves complimentary saltine crackers to really make them want to drink.
Eat all the pretzels you want.
Right.
I got popcorn machines, man.
Yeah, perfect. With 400 tons of salt on it.
Yeah, we put some salt. We don't even use oil. We just use salt to pop the popcorn.
Salt in the beer.
Sure. Reseda Country Club, Wendell, the Dream Crusher Neeley.
Yeah, of course. They're killing you for killing this guy. He's trying to...
I'm not trying to kill him. I'm trying to show that this guy is legitimate, that he's thought this out. He's got a plan. He's, well thought out, and he's putting up his money for a good cause, and he's going to do it the right way and bring in quality entertainment and be successful. That's my point.
Well, I'll make a simple point. In all the years we've been doing the show, we've had exactly 2 club owners, I believe, on the show. Bill tonight and Billy Morris.
Right.
And Billy only really because he was in Warrenton, quite right.
I would have had Billy on regardless of that.
Well, yeah, because Billy's a friend. But, Bill is the only true club owner we've ever just had come in.
Right.
Because we don't really promote clubs very often. So, I love the Z-Plex. I'll just say it straight up. And I'm not just kissing Bill's ass because he's here, because Lord knows if I hated it, if I hated it, he wouldn't be here. Yeah. And that's the reality of it. I love going to that club, and I want to see bigger bands. And he is and to his credit, he's brought in a lot of bands that we play that you and I both know up front are not going to draw big numbers. You know, he brought in Spread Eagle. You and I both love Spread Eagle.
Yeah, because we've had Ray West on the show 2 or 3 times in the last, say, 5 years or so, and that guy's always been cool to us, and I'm glad to see that you actually brought a guy all the way from New Jersey to play your club.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool, man. We had about 200 there. It was a decent little draw for me that night. It was a good show. We had a couple other local guys in front. I'll tell you, the Ghost of War that played with them, class act, those guys.
Sure.
I mean, just all about the music. I mean, they did real well. Spread Eagle did real well. Everybody enjoyed them a lot. So,
sure.
And we got Killer Dwarfs coming up next week, so that should be a pretty decent show.
It should be fun. I've actually had Russ Dorff here in the Classic Metal Show studio live perform for us acoustic, and Chris basically crushed his dreams and hopes.
Great. Okay. Never mind, Chris. We're not going to talk about the Killer Dwarfs.
No, you got to play. Neely, at some point you should, if you have that clip available, you need to play that tonight. That is some funny stuff.
Oh, geez, great.
But Russ Dorff is a personal friend of ours, and I wish I could be at the Z-Plex to see Killer Dwarfs.
And that's on that's Friday.
Friday.
That's a Friday.
Next Friday, yeah.
And I'm thinking I might pack the laptop up and come out there and actually do a little broadcasting.
Yeah, why don't we do a live broadcast?
I'm in.
Yeah, man, no problem. We'll set you up in the green room with the guys or something.
There we go.
You know,
that'd be awesome.
I like. He's got the vernacular down, the green room.
Yeah, of course. It's the green room, dude.
Come on, man. I'm a concert hall. Come on.
But you might have to provide some kind of protection for Chris, because when Russ was here in the Classic Metal Show studio, basically Russ, committed to come into the Cleveland area and kill Chris personally.
Oh shit! I thought you were talking about condoms. Damn.
Okay, well, hey, if you're providing that at the Z-Plex, then I'm really in.
I got security. We're cool. Yeah, I got you.
Nice.
Well, let me ask you, Bill, since you're such a big 80s fan, right off the top of your head, who's your top favorite 80s band? Go.
Motley Crue.
Really?
Yeah.
And why?
Just I grew up out in LA with them, seen them a dozen times. Just all over the place out in LA. So I just always loved them. Yeah.
Are you disappointed with the way that Vince Neil performs, in a live setting with, basically singing like every third word and, just kind of be lazy?
See, back then though, we were so I'm from East LA. We were so fucked up back then. It didn't really matter. Like I sang along. I thought he was hitting all the words, man. I could have told you that.
Well, I'm not talking, 25 or 30 years ago. I'm talking, like currently.
Yeah, I don't honestly, I don't follow him currently. I try not to taint my childhood. Okay, like that. So, some of these guys, I mean, and don't get me wrong, and I'm probably going to be hated for this, but some of these guys should, kind of like sports guys, hey, maybe you should have went out on top, man. Just calm down a little bit, quit. You can't run the ball anymore.
Right.
Well, how did you end up from North Hollywood to Streetsboro, Ohio, of all places?
Well, I wasn't always the upstanding citizen before you today, man. So after I got out of a little bit of trouble, I got the hell out of California, and I moved back to this little town. I moved my mom back to this little town called Altoona, Pennsylvania, and I lasted about 6 months. I've never seen so much denim in my life. Okay, I just dark hair, frizzy hair, and denim.
Nice.
I might as well just slit my throat. So I moved out to Jersey and got back into the wild stuff, New York, New Jersey, and everything. And then ended up following a girl to Florida, and then followed her here, and that's how I ended up in Ohio.
That pussy is awful powerful, isn't it?
Dude, it's sick.
It makes you do shit that you would never do.
Yeah, I got 7 kids, man.
Oh my God, really? 7?
Yeah, you'd think I'd have figured out how that shit happened by now.
Your name isn't Chuck Myden, is it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got a 4-year-old to 24, brother. I've been watching Barney for 2 fucking decades, man.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Think about that, Barney for 20 years, man.
Oof. Yeah. And you're still alive.
And you haven't turned gay.
I love you. You love me.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gay yet. Yeah, I'm cool.
You're not gay yet.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a couple hours here with Chris after some apple pie. We'll see what happens.
Wow. Between you and Nader and Bob Nalbandian and Chris, all the gay talk tonight. Really?
There's a lot of gay talk tonight. There sure is.
We are in Ohio, man. Come on, you know.
So you basically went from California out to Altoona, PA, which is kind of northeast of Pittsburgh, then out to Jersey, and then over to Ohio.
I went to Florida.
Oh, yeah, Florida. You were chasing pussy to Florida.
Yeah, that's where I internship at the Chef Mickey program at Walt Disney World. That's how I became an executive chef.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, I worked for Mickey Mouse for about 4 years, and then came here.
And he didn't say, ha ha, go out there and make me some goddamn money. Ha ha ha.
Then you want to talk about I'm gay. All right, go ahead.
Nice. Well, Chef Bill, it's good to make your acquaintance. I'm glad you stopped down to the CMS Studio B, and I know you're going to hang out with us for a little while. So, I'm in the mood for an adult beverage.
Me too.
Let's take a little break. So, since you're the guest of honor, would you like to pick a song?
Yeah, well, can you throw something on from Killer Dwarfs for next week?
Sure.
Yeah, put something on Killer Dwarfs.
Now, how did you come across the Killer Dwarfs? Was it the promoter just, putting it out there and saying, hey, they're available, and you said, yeah, let's get them in the club, or how did that come about?
Yeah, it was a promoter hitting me up, actually, on Facebook rules the world these days, it seems like. Yeah, it was a promoter hitting me up on one of my Facebook pages. It kept hitting me. And it's funny, I didn't book them.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they put me on their tour map and put me on their website, and I must have got about 150 phone calls. So I called up the guy. I'm like, hey, did you put me on that tour map? He says, well, they put it as a maybe. I'm like, well, I guess I'll take them now. Hell, 150 phone calls. I'll take that shit now. Yeah, so it worked out real well.
Wow, look at you. Now, you don't have to be specific, but what kind of a price range can you get a Killer Dwarfs to play a club?
I would say in the price range in between 1 and 2. How's that?
Really? Really? That cheap?
Shit, I need them in my backyard for that.
Holy smokes, really? I'll be damned. Well,
that's because I got good food. I told them I'd feed them too.
Well, when Russ and the boys roll into the Z-Plex there, you got to say, you know what? I'm friends with Chris and Neeley of the Classic Metal Show, and they go, fuck this place. We're not playing here.
And all of a sudden it goes to $5,000. Thanks a lot, man. I'll pass.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chef Bill, since you're so, involved with the club business and you are keeping that 80s spirit alive, I thought maybe I'd play something from called Keep the Spirit Alive.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, we'll be back. Killer Dwarfs playing the Z-Plex next Friday night over in Streetsboro, Ohio. So if you're in the Ohio area, please go out there and go to the Z-Plex and check out Killer Dwarfs live.
I'll be there.
Excellent.
People can come and buy me drinks.
Nice. All right, well, here it is. It's the Killer Dwarfs exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.